Menard Correctional Center inmate Samuel Lupo wrote a poem called Invisible Boy. He wrote, "Maybe being invisible wouldn't be so bad. If only for Harry Potter's cloak, I wouldn't be so sad. I would never wish my current situation on anyone. Believe me, being the invisible boy is no fun." His poem is one of the many that the Urbana-Champaign Books to Prisoners Project compiles once a year. That publication is one of the many things that volunteers do to educate the community about prisons and support inmate literacy. According to the organization, up to 65% of prisoners across the nation qualify as illiterate. The Books to Prisoners Project aims to do something about it, from supplying educational books, fictional books, and everything in between. Key staff member Deb Sanderson tells the story of how the project took root in 2004.
It particularly began expanding when a woman whose son was in prison, very young guy, and he had a roommate, and both of them really wanted to read. But it turns out you can't send a book into prison. It has to come from a book company. She started collecting more books and got people in the community involved.
While organizations are allowed to send books, the project still has a number of rules to contend with. Federal inmates may not receive books containing nudity or sexually explicit themes. Volunteer Todd Nicholson explains one of the most obscure rules.
Like one prison, you can't send books that contain maps. And I'm like, well, what if you have a book that contains a map of a fictitious place? Are they going to pull it? I mean, I never found out. I guess it's kind of interesting because it's like the rules they have, you're kind of aware of like that there always is a degree of kind of censorship, but like it doesn't always seem very rational in terms of what's permitted in and what isn't.
The books provided by the project are free for inmates and prisons across Illinois. Relying only on biannual fundraisers and sporadic donations, books often fall short of demand. Of course, that's not always the case. Sanderson reflects on a memorable inmate request she found heartwarming.
We had this one guy that wrote one time and said he didn't know Spanish and his cellmate was Spanish, and he wondered if we could send him some books so that he could learn Spanish. And about a year later he wrote back and he said that he had learned some Spanish and now he was teaching other prisoners Spanish so they could communicate with their cellmates who were not English speakers.
What inmates ask for is often half the fun for volunteers. Student volunteer Allison Ganko says it's what the prisoners request that makes volunteering worth it.
I like that it's doing something good for prisoners who normally people don't think about very often, and although it's bad that they're in prison and we normally think that like they don't deserve anything, I think it's good that people are trying to improve themselves, and it's interesting some of the things they ask for, like books about law or continuing their education, so it just gives me a new perspective on things.
For new volunteers, the task of picking books and packaging them may be intimidating. Sanderson walks a group through the process.
So you read your letter, you choose the books, and then you write a little note and gather it up with rubber bands. You can send up to 5 books per order, but not more than 4 pounds. And there's a little scale over there, so when you get done putting your order together, weigh it. If it's more than 4 pounds, pick out a book.
No experience is needed to volunteer. Community members can find work in the basement of Urbana's Independent Media Center during weekly volunteer hours. People can also help out behind the scenes by managing volunteers and finances, or can volunteer to organize materials in the project's 2 Champaign County Jail libraries. The Books to Prisoners Project encourages anyone to get involved. Madeline Rose, UI7 News.